So my name is Michael Ricci. I was the class of 2015 here, and I'm currently a customer service and retention representative at Boston College. I was very involved here. So I was in admissions, I was in financial assistance. I had a lot of practice in an office setting. But with that, it's obviously, he gets the praise all the time, but Timothy Liptrap, who's my, sports management head, he really prepared me for internships, getting it ready. I had some connections beforehand, but really Nichols professional development, all those things are huge because I obviously didn't have it before, so those things definitely helped. Mentioned this a little bit earlier off camera, but I think it is the practicum. I think you need some practice before your internship, which is practice, but you do need a little bit of time to shake off the jitters, just not be nervous, be comfortable in an environment, and then when you go to a place you want to be at, you're more natural. Besides that, they do a great job of making you a professional before you get there. Clearly they have you with industry tools. For example, I had it before my interview, we were talking about Sports Business Journal with the guy who eventually hired me, and I referenced an article, and he says, you guys read Sports Business Journal? So obviously we're doing things correctly in that aspect with all these professors that are in industry. So the only real thing that I was gonna say was the practicum, and I love that it's here after I'm gone, it's great. So I had the unpaid internship while I was a student here, getting the credit internship, and I loved it. And Liptrap will even attest to this. I actually lied about how many hours I did. I did more than I was supposed to because I was enjoying it so much. I think I did something like 900, and I just had a blast there. I love the people I worked with. I was in marketing and fan engagement, which was right up my alley. It's young, it's energetic, it's trying to get to the student, trying to get to the community outreach. So I ended up doing that, and then that turned into a paid internship, which I didn't really have anything else, and it was really good to feel like I was doing the thing that I wanted to do, go on my career track. And then fortunately enough, a guy came, and while I was an intern, loved my work ethic and offered me a full-time role, so it was perfect. So we all fall under the external operations umbrella in athletics, and that includes communications, the ticket office, ticket sales and service, marketing, even digital media. So for me, I was working with that team already, and when I was with marketing, the gentleman who was hired as the senior AD of external started looking over us, and his first thing was, I want an internal sales and service team here. And so that's the gentleman who met me and said, love your work ethic, would you want to become one of my retention guys? So we ended up doing that. And so actually the team is brand new. So I was actually the first hire of the team. So it's not like I knew the transition going into it, so I just jumped into it. But it's been a blast, and I think it's something that our fans, personally, I know they appreciate that they have a service guy for them. My honest opinion, I say this to, we have some Nichols interns now at BC. We had them my paid internship year. We've had them since, and we just took on 2 more. My advice to them is, and it's kind of silly, but you're a college student, you're broke, volunteer your time. It's not like you're gonna get paid for it yet, so just volunteer your time out. And work hard. I think the only thing I did different was I was there all the time working hard, and that turned into money. And if you're focused on money, it's not gonna happen. You gotta focus on the job itself, or if you wanna do it, and that turned into a job for me. I didn't focus on, I gotta get a job, I just focused on the hard work part. It's kind of boring and dry, but the only advice I have is volunteer your time, work hard, and network. Actually, networking, you have to introduce yourself, because the old saying, it's who you know. Well, I know Mike Krzyzewski, but Mike Krzyzewski doesn't know me. It's actually who knows you, so it's not who you know. So networking. So work ethic, I think, is one of those things that's super important with me and my family. But beyond that, I would say curiosity is a big one. Being curious who people are, what they do. It's not embarrassing to say, communications, I have no idea what you guys do. Can you teach me? And something I was taught very early on in life was, if you ask someone what they do every day, they get very excited to tell you, because it's what they do every day. So that's something, I think it's curiosity. I think it's being humble. And my biggest thing, even going into, now in a professional career track, is still being that guy who's networking, asking those questions. I have a job, and to this day, I try to make a goal for myself, and I've hit it every month, is once a month, I reach out to a senior AD who I strive to be at a Division I Power 5 school, and just talk to them. I want to know their journey. So I think curiosity would be another big one. I made it a point while the intern to meet every department head, ask what they do, so I had a better visual of what athletics was, and then learn their journey. And I think something that I benefited from that was you learn there's no journey like this. You learn journeys are going all over the place to get to where they are. So I would say curiosity would be my next biggest one. So I think something that we look for is someone who's willing to do the gritty work. Grit's a great word. We're looking for someone with grit. I think and I'm not saying in a negative fashion, my generation does have this stigma, and it's been proven to me a couple times that when things start getting hard because we've never worked for it, we start to get whiny and we start to complain a little bit. And like I said, I'm part of this generation, so I'm not knocking us, but I think grit, we need people who will buckle down. Last year we didn't have a great year at BC, but people who had grit buckled down and we went through it. So I think it's really more grit because that helps you face adversity and tough times and come out of it. Everything else, I've always said this, if you have ethic and grit, you can teach any skill, but you can't teach those things. So those are important. I think in sports, especially if you're a sports professional, you've definitely played on a team, and there's so many mirrors of lessons that you can learn from sports to being a professional. My biggest one, and I'll always remember this, and I joke with my old teammates now, but it was my sophomore year, and I was elected captain with my roommate Remington, and we're pretty young for a team to be elected as a sophomore, and a lot of people didn't agree with it. And I remember there was 11 of us in my class, so I felt I have to prove the reason I'm the captain, and I got really macho, and I'm embarrassed to say it now, but I remember one practice saying, we're gonna do this because I'm the captain, that's the way it is. And I quickly learned through their reaction and lessons after that it doesn't take that. So my humility has come from sports, as I do in the profession as well. There's no point running around in my sales team, if I had a great week or a great month, I'm the best, this and that. Bring your teammates up, and leaders don't have to pound their chest, in my opinion. So that lesson was one of the biggest lessons in my life because it taught me to be humble and a leader doesn't need to be the loudest in the room. So that's always something I bring up even with friends and colleagues at work now. So that would probably be my biggest lesson from that. So I'm pushing myself every day to be the best leader I can. I felt the pressure when we started this new department because everyone else we hired was new to BC Athletics. It's their first job. I knew the crew, I knew the layout of the land. No, I wasn't doing my exact role now, but I just knew BC. So what I, as a leader, tried to do is bringing people up. So, a sales team is kind of like a track team where you're all hoping we go first, but each individual athlete wants to beat that other athlete, and that's fair. But your track team's only as good as your slowest guy. So for me, my biggest thing is helping those guys that are new or don't know the lay of the land, or maybe it's their first professional shot. They didn't do an internship. So it's back to being a humble guy. I could walk around and be like, I'm the senior here, and I'm not because I haven't even been there a year. But to them, I have been there a long time. So I think humility, being a good, genuine, kind person is more of a leadership quality than being the big brash person, and bringing those people up with you, because the people you bring up with you will help you at some point as well. So that leadership is, I almost believe, more in servant leadership than just regular leadership.